What up? Welcome back, guys. Thank you all for being here. Let me get this damn mic adjusted. Why do I always gotta do that? Every time we're trying to get it adjusted, we're trying to get everything straight, because I come in here hot and turn it on and let's go. You know what I mean? Alright, guys, welcome back. You know where you're at. You know what you're doing. Hopefully you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, figure out what you're doing. Okay, so today we are going to talk about a subject. Well, it's a couple of subjects that you might not want to hear about. And I'm sorry, but these are things that I think we kind of talked about this a little bit in one of the episodes. I tried to go back and look, but I couldn't really find it. Today we're going to, well, the main topic is dry January. What? Really? Huh, okay. And we're going to talk about the effects of whiskey on your body, on your mind, on your soul. And it's not going to be good effects. Okay, it's going to be the bad effects. Which, now, don't take any of what I'm saying as like, I mean, some of it's negative, obviously. It's not good. I'm not disowning the pleasures of whiskey or anything around there. So don't get it twisted. This is just something that is a necessary evil. We are almost 50 episodes in, and we need to talk about overindulgence and stuff like that. We have touched on it, like I said, but we haven't really gone, I don't want to say deep into it, because we're going to go personal. We're going to get a little personal with it. So if you're not into this, I totally understand. Maybe this isn't your episode, but we're going to get a little personal with it, and we're going to get kind of do a little research and stuff like that into what causes this and what causes alcoholism and things like that. So today, we got to do a little bit of talk, the walkie walk. No, today marks. I went to the doctor, not the doctor. I went. Where did I go? I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my thoughts around. I went and got some blood work done. I've actually got two different types of blood work. One for the specialist and one for the oncologist. Two separate panels. But the panel that they did today, they drew 18. Yeah, I said it right. 18 vials of blood out of me. So that was pretty massive panel. And then I went and got a CAT scan done of my body so that next week we can look at it with the oncologist and see where we're at and go from there. So, again, I am hopeful. I am prayerfully optimistic, right, in the outcome of everything that we have gone through, right? But at the same time, I'm also understanding and kind of not apprehensive, but kind of like expecting the best, of course, always, but also preparing for maybe some not so great news, right? Because if you put all your eggs in one basket and say, I 100% believe that blah blah blah, then when there is that chance that doesn't happen, it's not great. You know what I mean? Like it can break your heart or break your spirit, and I don't want that. So I'm going into this optimistically. Is it going to break my heart? Absolutely. If there is, knock on wood, it's not going to happen. We're going to get a free and clear, all points turn to yes type scenario. But at the same time, I want to be totally understanding. You know what I mean? And I want to be able to, just like say, hey, this is the thing. You know what I mean? So okay, so that's that. I did all the blood work for that. I am actually feeling pretty good. Trying. I'm lining up guests, just working on getting the dang what is it called, schedule stuff going. So last week I talked to y'all a little bit about, or maybe the one before, anyway, about I was given some samples, and they were samples of rum. Okay, now I am the whiskey guy, right? So I don't know my way around a good rum. So I said thank you to the people, and I said if you want a shout out, and they reached out to me and said yes. So Dylan Thompson from Whiskey House Pub House, if you want to give them a follow on Instagram, it's Whiskey House Pub House. They sent me over these samples. Now I'm going to give a fair, I might do it on a podcast. I don't know. Who knows? I'm going to give it a fair review. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. And if anybody else, I'm not gonna turn down free samples. So if anybody else wants to send samples, hit me up on our socials, and we'll go from there, because that's what they did. And now I have samples to try, which is awesome. Hopefully, being a free bill of health, I will be able to start drinking whiskey again. And that's kind of what got me into this week's topic. This whole spiel about dry January. We're going to jump right into it, because I don't really have anything else. We're almost 7 minutes. How come every time I get on the mic, I feel like I need to burp? I don't understand that. Like, it's... I know it's gross, but, like, seriously, it's bad. I feel like that too freaking loud. Anyway, okay. So, dry January, right? Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's doing it, I guess. A lot of people are doing it. Now, I will tell you, and this is no shame to anybody or anything, I myself am inadvertently, that's a big word, doing a dry January. Just because the doc said, hey, don't be drinking. So let's talk about what dry January is. And then I'll give you my personal thoughts on it. Okay, so I did a little Google foo on it. Dry January is a popular trend where individuals commit to abstaining from alcohol for the entire month of January. The concept gained traction as a New Year's Eve resolution, and has been promoted as a way to start the year to focus on health, well-being. People often engage in dry January in various ways. Because there's some people that still drink, but they'll drink like non-alcoholic beer or mocktails. And I'm like, is that really dry? I mean, it is dry. It doesn't have alcohol in it. But like, you're still going through those motions. To me, and this is just me. Okay. And then I'm going to caveat right here. Put a pin in this. By no means is anything that I say medical advice. I am not a medical expert. I know nothing about this. This is just my personal opinion and what has happened in my life. All of those things. Take that with a grain of salt for whatever it is, okay? So just understand that right now. I am not a doctor. I am not condoning nor endorsing said things, okay? So I'm not going to tell you how to drink. I'm not going to tell you what to drink. I'm not going to tell you when to drink and how much to drink. You drink whatever you want, okay? But we are going to talk about some of the topics that, I'm not going to be your dad, okay? We are going to talk about some of the topics that most people don't want to talk about. And I don't care. I'll talk about them all day. Okay, so people often engage in dry January in various ways. And there's 6 bullet points, okay? Number 1. Health benefits. Abstaining from alcohol for a month can contribute in improving physical health. It also allows the body to recover from potential effects of alcohol, such as improved liver function and better sleep. Take that for what it is. Number 2, resetting habits. For those who have consumed alcohol more than usual during the holidays, which that happens a lot, dry January provides an opportunity to reset habits and establish healthier relationships with alcohol. Okay, which is a healthy relationship with alcohol is a big deal. Number 3 is mental clarity. Some people choose to participate in dry January to experience increased mental clarity, better concentration, and enhanced mood without the influence of alcohol. Because a lot of people at the same time, when they're doing this, they're going to the gym, they're doing the things, they're eating healthy, their body is just working differently, right? By about end of February, March, they've thrown all that in the trash and they're doing whatever they were doing last year. Anyway, again, it might go on a little bit of a rant, but we're gonna play through. Financial savings. Cutting out alcohol for a month can result in financial saving. Participants often use this as an opportunity to redirect funds toward other activities or goals. Okay, that's interesting. Social experiments. Many individuals take part in Dry January as a social experiment or as a way to challenge themselves. It can be an opportunity to explore social situations, without relying on alcohol. Because there's a lot of people out there that rely on alcohol in a social situation, which is fine. But this gives you the opportunity to go to social situations without relying on alcohol. Promoting moderation. That's number 6. Dry January can serve as a reminder to practice moderation in alcohol consumption throughout the year. It encourages mindful drinkers to be self-aware about one's relationship with alcohol. It is important to note, while participating in Dry January can offer potential benefits, individuals should also consider their own health by making choices that align with their well-being. If someone has concern about their alcohol consumption, they should consult with a healthcare professional, obviously. So we kind of went through what Dry January is. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but that's the internet thing telling me, what they think it is. So to me, Dry January, I get it. I get where they're going with it. Like, I'm not going to drink for a month. Cool. But then, like, come St. Patrick's Day, you go on a bender, right? Valentine's Day, you're drinking, you and your girl or you and your guy are getting a little loose. You know what I mean? Like, it is all of this is about moderation and understanding your consumption, right? And I understand that there's some people that don't have that mental, I don't know how to say it, that mental fortitude, I guess, to say, okay, I've had 2 drinks, I've had 3 drinks. It depends upon your tolerance as well. Because if you're a larger man, if you are a heavy, and I hate to say heavy drinker, but if you are a heavy drinker, you're going to be able to drink more because your body is more prone to drinking heavy. You know what I mean? So you might be able to have a 6-pack of beer while somebody else can't even have 2. Does that make sense? It just depends. You have to know your moderation. So I say all that to say, I think Dry January in itself is a gimmick. Because what they do is they don't drink for that whole month, and then they go on benders for the rest of the year because they did their Dry January. That to me is like, putting a Band-Aid on a cut, right, and not touching it. But as soon as you rip the Band-Aid off, you're over there scratching your wound. You know what I mean? To me, that it's just how do you say it? I understand why people do it. Because they're trying to focus their, the first of the year. I don't know what the big deal, like the big deal with the whole New Year's resolution and stuff like that. If you can't do it right now, whatever the day is, the day you're thinking of it, you have to wait for a certain time. Time is a construct, and I know this might get a little ranty, and I don't care. Time is a construct, right? Time only exists in your mind, right? It's sun up, sun down, you get ready for bed, sun up, you get ready to get up, right? That's kind of how your body works. It's called circadian rhythm, right? Other than that, your body doesn't know what day it is. You know by the seasons, right? If you live in an area that has seasons, you know by the seasons. Oh, it's cold outside, so it might be winter. Or, oh, it's hot outside, so it might be summer. Other than that, your body... Time was invented, right? I understand they said it went by the stars and the bloots and all the things, and we did the thing. I get it. I don't care about that. That's not what I'm talking about. If you can't commit to something right now, and if I told you right now I'm going to stop doing this. Sorry, I got now I'm totally distracted from what I was going to say. But like basically what I was trying to, I dropped my papers. If you can't commit to it right now, you're not going to commit to it. Committing to a month of not doing something, then why do it at all? Do you know what I'm saying? Like to me, it has a lot of like showmanship to it. It doesn't have like real backbone to it, because there's people that are quote unquote heavy drinkers. I think they call that 2 to 4 drinks per week is considered a heavy drinker. Okay, think about that. Think about and I'm not pointing a finger at anybody, because I got 3, 4, however many fingers I have in my hand pointing back at me, right? So just understand that. This is according to medical doctors, right? Medical doctors that in the same turn, when they get home, go through 2 bottles of wine. So they have no, they're pot calling the kettle black. Seriously. So let's talk about some of this, not the medical side effects. Okay. Like I said, this might get a little dark. Okay. Not trying to, but it might get a little dark. Chronic heavy drinking can have determinate effects on your health. Here are some of the medical side effects. Number 1 is liver damage. Alcohol is processed by the liver, and excess consumption can lead to a condition like a fatty liver, alcoholic hepatitis, and cirrhosis. Everybody's heard of cirrhosis. Quit drinking, you're going to get cirrhosis of the liver, right? No, it's just water. It's just water. So like, yeah. I mean, I get it. In itself, man, I am not trying to be negative. I'm not. I love whiskey. Don't get me wrong. I love it. Okay? But like, it is a poison. Alcohol is a poison that you put in your body, but it's one of the only poisons that your body actually likes. Strange. A little bit strange. Huh. Some people, they can't drink it. It's kind of crazy. Like my wife, for instance, whenever she drinks, she gets red-faced, and she gets really hot, and like, she enjoys alcohol, like she loves a good gin and tonic or something like that. She doesn't drink whiskey. She's tried it number of times at distilleries, stuff like that. We've done tours and stuff, and she's like, I love it. No, I don't. But like, she can't really drink. That's fine. Whereas me, I could sit down with a bottle and sit there and drink it all night. And in serious, this was before. Now, I don't know about now. Probably one drink could get me toasted. But before, I could sit down with a bottle, probably drink that entire bottle that night and not be schnockered. Does that make sense? Like, drinking slowly, letting your body absorb it, drinking water with it, all of those things, like, I could have a lot. You know what I mean? Because I had a higher tolerance. Now, my tolerance is bupkis. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll talk about that in a minute. Number 2 is cardiovascular issues. Heavy drinking may contribute to high blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, and increased risk of heart disease. Okay? You know what else does that? Even worse? Eating fast food. Eating processed food. That's even worse. So, like I say, it's all moderation with all this. Here's the one that hit home, obviously, but I don't want to say what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it. It didn't hit my home, if that makes sense. Listen, cancer risk. All right, alcohol consumption, including whiskey, has been linked to an increased risk of certain cancers, such as liver, which I get, esophageal, I guess your esophagus, and breast cancer. Now, men can get breast cancer. I don't know if y'all knew that, but they can. They have the same tissues and everything. Liver, I get, which I would never want anyone that I know or have been around to have any form of this, and I mean that 100%. But it does not say the one that I have, so it's clear, right? Just keep going. No, I'm sorry. That was a crude joke, but you know, I take it for what it is. I'll have to get them where I can, right? Number 4, weakened immune system. Okay, excessive alcohol intake can weaken the immune system, making you more susceptible to infection. I didn't know that. That's kind of weird, right? It's kind of strange. Drink a bunch of alcohol, you get sick faster. Mental health effects. Now, we are going to have a doc on, and he's going to talk to us about mental health effects of whiskey. Alcohol can impact mental health, contributing to conditions like depression and anxiety. It can also impair cognitive function, as well as many other things. Which it kind of goes into this one. Number 6 is addiction and dependency. Regular, heavy drinking can lead to alcohol dependencies and addiction, with withdrawal symptoms when not consuming alcohol. We've all, if you've listened to this, we've all had those nights where we tied one on. And we didn't know we did, but we did. We tied one on, woke up the next morning, and felt like crap. Had a bad hangover, man. Bad hangover. And you're like, I'm never drinking again. We've all said it. The last time that happened to me, I might have already said this once on this. After a while, I forget what I tell you guys. So it's like, if you've heard it, just fast forward a little bit. The last time I don't know if it was the last time. I think it was the last time we went to Vegas. It was our anniversary, blah, blah, blah. I got snockered drunk the night before we had to leave. That was the worst experience of my life. Because not only was I drunk in Vegas, which everybody's drunk in Vegas, that's not a problem. I was like throwing up drunk, right? I took it too far. Hadn't eaten the day because anyway, long story. Then had to wake up the next morning and get on an aeroplane and come home. Not a good. At least if you're going to do that, I wouldn't condone anybody doing that, but at least if you're going to do that, do it 2 days before so you have a day to, recover or hair of the dog or something. Anyway, not good. And what did I say? I'm never drinking again. Well, I said I'm never drinking like that again. And I haven't. I've been pretty good about that. But at the same time, dependency is a big deal, and that's something we're going to get into in a little bit. But all right. So then the next one, which this is totally true. Alcohol can irritate your digestive system, leading to gastritis and acid reflux. There are people I know that can't drink certain types of liquor because it gives them acid reflux. And some people can't drink beer because, well, for one, the carbonation, but like there's something with the beer, it like makes them physically ill. Which I know we're not sitting here talking about beer, but also it's like, man. So you just have to kind of be your own mediator, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, but the bad thing is you have to go through it to get to it. Does that make sense? Like, you don't know you can't drink tequila until you drink tequila. Does that make sense? Like, until you've had one too many Patron shots at a bar, you don't know that you're like, maybe Patron's not for me. And you don't know if, like, that one time you got in a fight with that guy because you were, drinking Jaeger bombs or whatever. Yeah, maybe don't drink that. Now, it's not the liquor's fault. The liquor just made you do the thing that you did. So don't blame it on you can blame it on Jaeger because, oh gosh, we don't even go there. I can tell you that story later. But anyway, so let's get into the deep end. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into the deep end. I feel like this shit is just like it is. I'm just pausing it, man. It's annoying me, and I'm turning it off. I don't know. Some days I need it. Other days I'm like, I can't anymore. Okay, I got all my paperwork out of the way, which is great. Okay, so let's talk about dependency, alcohol dependency, which nobody wants to talk about, right? And again, I'm going to say this like this. I am not your father. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. And I am not trying to say I'm better than you. And this, I will say this right now, and this is me coming to you as a friend. If you feel like you have any sort of dependency issues, that I'm not going to be listing them, but the things that we're going to be talking about, if you feel like you have any of those, please get help. Please, I'm begging you. It will save your life and your family's life. Physically, mentally, spiritually, all of those things, okay? It is no joke. Drink responsibly. That's why people say it the way that they say it, and I'm coming to you 100% true from my heart, because this is the shit that they don't talk to you about, okay? If you're depending on the whiskey too much, on the weekend, I've had a hard week, I'm going to tie one on tonight. If you're depending on the whiskey to get you to a certain place, you know what I mean? Now, here, let me say this. We have all done it. We've all had a hard week. Man, I just need a drink. And that's okay. I'm not, now, doctor's going to say that's a problem. But I am telling you right now that I get it. The stresses of this world, especially now, and we're not getting into the world, we don't talk about that stuff. The world is sunshine and roses on this podcast, you know what I mean? But especially in the world that we live in right now, where it's so social and the social media, you know, and everybody is in everybody else's business all the time, right? And we're constantly looking for acceptance. And whenever we don't get that, we fill that void with something, right? And let's say we work, like I don't right now, but I work in a job that is very strenuous on my body, right? Do a lot of lifting, bending, digging, crawling, doing stuff like that most people, office people, or, stock market traders, whatever, I don't care. They don't do that. They work their mind, obviously, and they have to talk and verbalize and say things, but they're not working physically, right? So with me, after a long week's work, it's nice to come home, make yourself a cocktail, and just unwind. Does that make sense? I'm not condoning that, right? I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. What I'm saying is when you only think about that cocktail, or you only think about that beer, or that shot of whiskey, right? That's all you're thinking about throughout the week. Man, I can't wait to Friday. You know, and then it goes, oh no, I don't have work on Friday, so I can start on Thursday. You know, here's the deal. You drink whenever you want to drink. Again, I'm not telling you when to drink, how to drink. This is not that thing. But at the same time, a couple days a week turns into a few days a week, turns into every other night, turns into I don't do it on Sunday, right? Unless the football game's on, right? I mean that's it easily turns into that. So you as a partaker has to have the mental fortitude and the understanding that this, like, the more you drink, the more you have to drink. Does that make sense? And I don't want to make this comparison because I feel like it is different. It's like drugs, right? It's like if you've ever, and I'm not trying to put myself in a corner, but if you've ever smoked marijuana, smoked weed, right? You're like, whoa, bro, yeah. Well, then you do it a couple times. Well, then by the time that couple times is over, you need a little bit more. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how it is with alcohol. You build up a tolerance to it, and you need a little more. So instead of one cocktail to knock the edge off, you're having to have two or three, and you see where that slow, and it's not like overnight. It's not an overnight thing that just happens. It is a thing that just creeps up on you, and then when it creeps up on you, sometimes, not all times, but sometimes it's too late. Sometimes you're in it, like killing bottles a night type in it, you know? And again, I sound super judgy, and I'm not trying to sound judgy. I love all of you, and I only want the best for all of you, and I hope that one day I can share a dram of whiskey with every one of you who are listening. That's not what I'm saying, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. Again, like I said, if you're having issues, get help. Contact me, and I'll find somebody for you, or you can talk to me about it. I don't care. I'm not a psychologist or a therapist or anything like that, but I've been around people, and I've had people in my life, and we'll get into that. I've had people in my life that have gone through, some horrible, horrible alcohol-related things, and it'll change your life, and it changed their life, some for the worst. So I will say this: if there's any sort of dependency, go find help, obviously. But here's the so you're thinking, you're like, okay, so you're telling me not to drink. Is that what you're saying? Don't drink. No, I'm saying we are all the whole reason that they put the drinking age in America to 21 is because you want to be a responsible drinker, right? And that's why people are doing this dry January, and some people are doing dry February because it has one less day. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, okay? The whole thing is this. Check yourself, right? If you need, and like in the whiskey community, they do what they call a dry week once a quarter, which I think is an excellent thing. And let me tell you something about doing a dry week or a dry month or something like that, and then we'll get back into it. But if you abstain from alcohol of any kind, I'm not just saying whiskey, I'm saying of any kind, because I know some of you out there like gin and beer and whatever else. If you abstain for a week, you will notice that your palate, your tasting of it will change, and you will have a better understanding of some more complex whiskeys. Like if you're sitting there drinking peated scotches and blah, 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 the peat is going to override, right? Well, then you step away from it and come back to it. You're going to get all of these different notes that you didn't get. And that just goes to show for any whiskey out there. For any whiskey out there. You step away from it. Some say a week, a couple days, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm not telling you how long to abstain, but it will reset your palate, and then you'll be able to go back into it fresh, and be able to be like, okay, I got it. You know what I mean? Because when you do tastings, like back-to-back tastings and stuff like that, it'll burn your palate out fast doing that, especially high proof, especially smoky, especially, all of these things will and can burn your palate out pretty fast. So it's good to take a break, take a breather. You know what I mean? So doing a dry month, it is even longer, and that will give you what they call better health benefits, of course. But like, it's like take a week off, take a day off, take a couple of days off. Like what the way I usually do it, is I won't drink Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? I will have a cocktail and maybe a pour on Friday, and then Saturday I'll have a couple of pours. Now, this is going to change, obviously. And then Sunday I will have a couple of pours. Now, that is a lot. I mean, according to doctors, that is a lot of whiskey. But and I don't want to say but it's okay because I do whiskey content. No, it's not. Just because you do whiskey content and I want to get a whiskey review out there or my thoughts on a whiskey or whatever, just because I want to do that, that doesn't mean that I get to drink more. Does that make sense? No. So, I don't know what the future looks like for me with that because, and this is, again, not me not trying to be a doctor or anything, but supposedly, alcohol turns to sugar in your blood and spikes your blood sugar. Therefore, if it turns to sugar, sugar is a magnet for cancer. I don't know why they don't teach that. I don't know, because they want us all to be fat and dumb. I'm sorry. I need to quit. I need to get off my rant. But like, even at the doctor's office, the oncology office, the cancer center, they have candy and hot chocolate and say, if your tummy hurts, just drink a soda packed with sugar. Just have one of those. You know what I mean? It's feeding the cancer, right? It's feeding the cancer. You already have the cancer. You're just feeding it more and more and more and more and more. And you wonder why people don't ever get healed from it. Because they don't change. They don't change anything in their life. The only thing they do is get the chemo, get the radiation. They don't change the actual things in their life. So, in saying all that, obviously, with whiskey, it's going to have to change. I'm still there, still going to drink it, still going to do the thing, but I'm also going to be very aware, and I'm going to have to, like, kind of check, do a glucose check. I know it sucks. You got to prick your finger and stuff like that. Do a glucose check and see how much it spikes your glucose. And then maybe, okay, I had 3 drinks tonight, which I would say is, whatever. I had 3 drinks tonight. Let me check it. You check it and it's super high. Then you go back and you check it again with 2 drinks and it's not as high. Okay, I can have 2 drinks. You know what I mean? And you kind of check yourself. If you ain't checking, you're guessing, right? So I say all that to say this. Like, you got to just know in your heart and in your mind, and most of you do. Most of you know that, like, hey, probably shouldn't do this. But then what else happens? It creeps in. I don't care, right? I'm having fun. I'm doing a thing. I'm hanging out with people. That's cool. I like to hang out with people too. Man, it's just sounding real bitchy on my part, and I'm not trying to at all. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me take a drink and refocus real fast. Hold on. That was not what this podcast was supposed to be about. I'm not trying to tell you how to drink, what to drink, when to drink. Well, maybe what to drink. Maybe, I am a little bit trying to tell you what to drink, but like, I don't want to be the guy standing on the mound yelling at you saying you're not doing it right, because I'm doing the same thing, right? I do have a new form of clarity. I'll call it clarity with it. I feel that, how do you say it? Like, I as of right now am approaching whiskey from a very understanding perspective, like a very, like, how do you say it? Not guarded. I'm not guarded to whiskey, but like respect, I guess, is the right. And I know whiskey is an inanimate object that does not have any power, right? But you give it respect and it will give you respect back. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say about that. So let's go on to a different topic that's even worse. This might be a shitty episode, and I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be shitty, okay? I'm literally trying to save your life and mine, okay? So if you don't want to hear any of this, I understand. None of us want to hear it. None of us want to hear that maybe the habits we're doing are wrong, and maybe that we're not doing the right thing in life. One thing that going through, and I don't want to talk about that either, but one thing that going through what I've gone through these past couple of months has given me so much mental focus and clarity on, like, literally, what am I doing with my life? Like, it's almost a midlife crisis type thing, but it was like a forced midlife crisis. Does that make sense? Like, I'm like, what am I doing? I love whiskey. I love making whiskey content. I love this podcast. I love all of the things that come with it. So that's not going anywhere, right? And I've told my doctors about it, and they're like, okay, we're going to have to work around that. Cool. Let's work around that, right? So I'm not saying whiskey's a no-go for me. I'm not saying it's a no-go for you. I'm just saying use your discretion. Viewer discretion is advised. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into the effects of whiskey on you, right? We all know, and we've all seen, and this is no shout out, no diss to anybody, but if you've ever been around people that drink a lot of beer, right? Like a lot of beer. I used to have this coworker of mine a long time ago, and they would polish off, and I know some people would be like, that ain't nothing. They would polish off a case of beer a night on a Tuesday. You know what I mean? Whatever. And they would come to work and they would be so red-faced because they hadn't eaten anything, and so, like, they weren't, like, big and fat and, they were a little bloated because of all the beer they drank, but, like, they were just red and inflamed, and, like, you could tell they were just, like, not in a good spot. And it's just it's so crazy to see that, right? Well, the same goes for any form of alcohol. Obviously, whiskey is different, and I'm going to say it like that because it does not have the sugar, and it does not have, like, all of the other things that, like, a beer would have, or even a wine that it would have, because wine has, like, sulfites and stuff like that in it. And anyway, which, will give you a headache or make your hangover horrible hangover with wine. Whiskey doesn't really have all that because it is distilled. That's why a lot of people drink vodka. It's because it's a clean drink. Does that make sense? And yes, all distilled liquor is gluten-free. All of it. Because the gluten can't come over in distillation. Okay? Let's just get that out of the way right now. You're not trying to be gluten-free drinking vodka. Okay? The wood does not impart gluten into the liquor. Okay, it's gluten free, I promise. But again, don't take my word for it. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a chemist, but I will say it's gluten free. So let's get into why. So obviously, alcohol is a depressant, right? It depresses the moods of your body. So if you're already a depressive person, it is going to enhance your depressiveness, right? That's why if you're hyped up, it literally will calm you down. It's because it's a depressive, right? That's just the nature of what it is. Some people get hyped up on it, which is fine. I mean, it can do the other effects because of the like, especially with beer, like with the sugar content of it, it can hype them up. Like if you're diabetic or something like that, it can actually put you into a glycemic, I don't want to say coma, but a glycemic event. So why? Oh gosh, man, I'm sorry. Okay. Let's talk about the effects of drinking and taking it too far. How do you feel when that's over? Like, let's say you've had a bad night, you drank too much, you woke up, you felt like crap the next day. You feel like you cheated on yourself. You feel horrible. You're like, man, I can't do that again. You're beating yourself up over it. Stuff like that. So that's a good sign. For one, it's kind of a good sign that you're at least acknowledging that, hey, that was not the right thing to do. But at the same time, you know, do you stop? Do you cut back? Do you, maybe take a break? That's when you have to have the mental fortitude. And there's some people, and this is, again, I'm going to say it 100 times, and I'm sorry. This is not a diss to anybody or anything. There's some people that don't have the mental fortitude to be able to tell themselves they need to have control, self-control. They have no self-control. Sometimes it's a mental imbalance, that they have no self-control or something like that. And it's hard. And some people have a really hard job. Like, let's say you are a police officer and, God love them. You know what I mean? They have a horribly hard job. It can be physical. Obviously, it's very physical and it's demanding and taxing, and they have long hours and stuff like that. But seeing, especially the ones in a larger city, seeing some of the things that they have to see, they almost have to be jaded, right? And put on a facade that nothing can affect them. Because when you see a homeless person that's dead and you have to go roll up to that, or if you walk in on a shootout and somebody shoots a little kid, and I'm not trying to be gross or anything like that. I'm like, these people go through a lot and they see a lot, and they have, and they do have well checks and stuff like that, and they make sure that but if you know of any police officers, they are very guarded. You know what I mean? And they're very, I don't want to say jaded, but they're very like, almost like they have a facade, right? Because of what they deal with. And that's what a lot of people who take alcohol too far, I'm getting to the point where they take alcohol too far. It's almost like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You know what I mean? Like, whenever they put that on, they're a different person. Well, and you've heard that before, right? You've heard that when people, man, when he drinks, he turns into a party animal. Or when he does this, she turns into a flirt. You know what I mean? You hear, I don't know why I sounded like a redneck when I said that. But anyway, you hear that all the time. It lowers your inhibitions, of course. And you say what you really want to say. That type of things, you know what I mean? But, so let me get into alcoholism. Yeah, man, this is a hard episode. And I'm sorry, but it's one that has to be said. Okay, let's get into alcoholism. Obviously, most of us know what that is, right? When you have to have a drink all the time, and you're sneaking it at work, and you're, I don't want to say drinking and driving. I hate drinking and driving. Don't get me wrong. There's people that drink and drive and they're not alcoholics. Does that make sense? Like, so I'm not going to put that in the thing, but like, man, this is so hard for me to talk about, but it's, like I say, it's necessary. Like, the people that have to have a drink all the time and they're constantly in need of a drink, and then they get angry if they don't have one, that is alcoholism, right? And I hope that none of you listening or myself are at that, and I know I'm not, and I say that fervently, but you have, like I say, you have to be able to check yourself regularly. And I'll tell you a quick story, okay? So I'm going to try not to get emotional, so just bear with me. So growing up, this is, story time, whatever you want to call it. It has to do with this story. So growing up, I didn't have a father. I had a father, right? That's kind of how you procreate, right? Unbeknownst to media. See, I'm doing it again. I'm sorry. My father wasn't in my life, and so it wasn't difficult. I didn't know any different. My mom was a great person. She raised me the best way she could. But then later in life, 11, 12, I noticed that there was kind of not a change in her, but she started to tell me things, like when you get a little older, your parents kind of divulge more information to you and stuff like that. And she told me that my father was a horrible alcoholic. And I knew what it was, but I didn't really know what it was. So I asked, and she's like, well, he drinks all day, every day. And I said, okay, well, that's not bad. She goes, yeah, but he's done it for 30 years. You know what I mean? Oh, okay. Like, okay. And she goes, well, I will tell you, once I got divorced, I too did that. Okay, cool. She's like, I would go out to the bar and close down the bar 3 nights a week, and then drink at home the other 2 nights with people at the house. We would have parties at the house. Not parties, but you have friends over and you drink. And she would do that every day, all day. If it wasn't at the bar, it was at somebody's house. And this is while I was young. And she said, I was to the point to where I had to drink every day. And I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? She goes, I don't know the heritage or the history part of it. She's like, but it is hereditary. Alcoholism is hereditary. She goes, my father was a bad alcoholic. Your father's father was a bad alcoholic. So it is hereditary. And I said, well, what does that mean for me? She goes, you're going to have to watch yourself when you drink. Okay. When you're 12 years old, you're like, yeah, bro, I'm going to get me a beer. You're thinking it's, cool. But so later in life, fast forward 3 or 4 years, I'm in high school, right? I think I was fixing to graduate. My mom comes to me and she's like, hey, your dad wants to talk to you. And I said, that's weird. Okay, I'll talk to him. So I started having a phone, quote unquote, relationship with him for a while, through graduation. He actually even came down to our house. He lives in another state. He actually came down to our house and tried to offer me a vehicle, which was a piece of crap. I don't even think it run. Anyway, long story short, he was a raging, and when I say raging, I mean he was a raging alcoholic. I don't know how he even made it down here. Seriously, like, he could not drink. All day, every day, drinking heavily. Like, he would drink what they call highballs, which is basically whiskey and soda, or whiskey and water. But it wasn't good whiskey. It was like Canadian Club, which Canadian Club can be good. It was a cheapo Canadian Club. And, like, he would go through bottles a night or more every night. You know what I'm saying? So, like, this was not cool. So, when I saw him face to face, for one, I was like, oh, crap, you look just like me. Like, I'm sorry. Sorry for my kids. Which, he's not an unattractive man, as am I. But he is, you could definitely tell he was my father. And I was like, oh, crap, here we go. So I say all that to say this. Later in life, when I was a little bit older, I kept in contact with my father. Well, he then, every time I talked to him on the phone, he was drunk, like schnocker drunk. And he would divulge information to me while he was drunk. And he was in Vietnam, and it's very similar to the whole Forrest Gump thing anyway, but he was in the middle of Vietnam, and he was running towards a helicopter that was going to take his platoon off of this little piece of ground, and he got shot in the back of the leg or in the butt, and so he got leave, honorable discharge, and I think that just ruined it for him. Well, then he ended up getting Agent Orange, which was horrible, which I think I can get money from. Anyway, long story short, so that's what developed his drinking habit because he was in a lot of pain, so he was using it as a sedative to numb the pain. And in Vietnam, there's nothing else to do. If you're not out killing people, you're drinking, which sucks. So it developed a habit really fast. Well, he would tell me all that. And then, it had been a couple of years after I graduated, he told me that he was actually on dialysis, which, if you know what that is, you know what that is. So his liver was not functioning and his kidneys were shutting down, but yet the man still drank all day, every day. Why? Because he was addicted. And I asked him one time, and it might have been one of the last conversations I had with him, but I asked him, I said, why I didn't call him dad? Because he wasn't my dad. And he wasn't a father. Just because anyway, I'm not going to go there. I said, why do you drink so much? He goes, to calm the demons in my head. And I was like, okay, I get it. When you've seen some shit that he's seen, you've gone through the things that he's gone through, because I will tell you this, and this is not a rant, this is 100% the truth. Our United States government and our veterans are, according to, they need to be treated with the utmost respect and have help and given proper medical treatment, both physical, mental, spiritual, all of those treatments, and they are treated as scum of the earth. They are not. If you've ever been to the VA, it is a horrible place. I had to do some work at the VA one time, and it was like a nursing home. It was horrible. And we should treat our veterans with more respect, because they literally put their life on the line to protect us. And it's not our fault. Like, we can fund it as much as we want to. It's not going to do anything. It's all government regulated, right? The government does not care for their fallen soldiers, basically, is the way they look at it. And I will not back down from that, okay? And if you don't agree with me, that's fine. But we need to treat our veterans with more respect, period. Because had that been the case and we had more respect, my father might have ended up different. You know what I mean? But he turned to the bottle instead of turning to mental help. And it eventually killed him. And I didn't know the last time I talked to him, and I said, Dad, I don't know how much longer I can do this. Like, I can't even talk to you because you're slurring your words so bad. Like, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and he is, like, passing out drunk already. Which, hey, demons, right? I get it. I don't know what he had to do in the jungles of Vietnam. I don't want to know. You know what I mean? And once you see some of the things that these people, I told you this is going to get dark, brother. Once you see some of the things that people have seen in their personal life, you're like, oh, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. You know, and then you see their true colors. So I say all that to say this. Coming from a background, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Coming from that background, like, I wear it as a, I know this sounds stupid, man. I wear it as a badge of honor. And I mean, I know that just saying it sounds weird. Both your parents were alcoholics. My mom recovered. She went cold turkey, recovered. Everything was great. I gave her a drink one time. We were having, it was like a New Year's or something. She got so drunk off like a glass of champagne or something. It was so funny. Anyway, you know, and I want to live through their legacy, even though it's a negative legacy. Does that make sense? My mom turned around and changed, and everything was fine there. She didn't have dependency issues anywhere because she was strong-willed like I am. My father, on the other hand, he was not able to do that. And I forgave him for that. I do forgive him for that. For not being a father, for not doing the things that he should have done and turning to the bottle instead, right? I get it. I don't get it, right? Because if it was me in that situation, I don't know how I would act, obviously, because I'm not in that situation. But okay, I'm going to use it as the situation that I'm in now. Again, not talking about that for a million times, but using this situation that I'm in, I could easily turn to the bottle and be like, why does the world hate me? Why does God hate me? Why am I inflicted? Why am I infirmed? What is going on? Blah, blah, blah. Turn to the bottle and go from there. I could do that. And I could lose my family. I could lose my wife. I could lose everything that I hold dear and still have to deal with the shit that I'm dealing with, right? Or I could use my strong will and be like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to be positive. We're going to stay focused. We're going to do what we have to do. I'm going to try to stay as normal as possible, which I feel like I've tried to do. I know some of the past podcasts have been a little sketch, coherent-wise. This one, might be a little sketch topic-wise, but that's okay. I don't care. I have to get these things off my chest, and I think you guys need to know about them. If you don't, I'm sorry. This isn't just about the whiskey. It's all about the whiskey, right? In the end, it's all about the whiskey. But this isn't just about the whiskey. This is about life. And if the whiskey is getting in the way of life, then it needs to find its place in your life, period. But not in the front seat, not driving the car, right? He can hang out in the back seat. Probably be better if he hung out in the trunk, right? Till you have reached your destination. No, I mean, that's the thing, man. I say all of that, and I don't mean a pity party, and I don't want any of that, and I don't want people to comment and say, man, I'm so sorry that happened. Because we all have bullshit in our life, and I'm sorry I'm cursing, but this is a thing, right? We all have stuff in our life that we have to deal with. And we could easily say, man, throw our hands up and be like, I don't even know what to do. Turn to the bottle. Turn the bottle up. You know what I mean? We could easily do that. I could easily go in there and kill a couple bottles. But I'm not going to. And you know why? Because I have more self-respect for myself. And I have more self-respect for you guys. I have more self-respect for my family and my friends, the people that love me, the people that are cheering me on. Right? So it's a hard topic. It's a hard topic to talk about. But at the same time, it's a topic that if we don't talk about it and I lose a friend or a listener to this, it's going to break my heart. And I know we've all struggled with something like this in our life. Alcoholism is it's rampant, man, because it's easy. It's easy to get. You can buy beer at the convenience store. You know what I mean? You can buy freaking Fireball there now, because they're making it out of wine. Anyway, they're not even making it out of whiskey. Did you know that? It's made out of wine. I don't know, man. It breaks my heart. The fact that people abuse whiskey. They abuse it. And this is, again, not throwing any shade to anybody, but I see all these quote-unquote whiskey influencers and these, not YouTube, like Instagram whiskey people. I follow quite a few of them because I like to see their content and stuff. A lot of them, not all of them, and I'm not going to name names or call anybody out. I don't care. Do you, bro? You got 100,000 freaking followers. You do whatever you want. But they are literally like saying, hang out with my family, drink whiskey. I think I'll drink whiskey. You know what I mean? Like, I can't make it through the day. I guess I'll have a whiskey. Like, they're saying all of these things that, like, they're funny. Sometimes they're funny, right? Like, go outside and mow the yard like a man, or drink whiskey neat like a man. Like I get it. I get it. You're being niche-y. You're being, you're being really, like, trying to poke fun and be funny. I get all that. But not respecting the alcohol, not respecting the whiskey for what it is, it's going to turn into something. And I just warn all those people that are out there doing that. I mean, I too like to joke around with whiskey and not use it as a, oh, we need to tread lightly on that. It is funny. And I do, whiskey memes and stuff like that too. I get it, man. I get it. But I think this is like a sobering talk. You know what I mean? Like, a sobering talk between us. Like I love whiskey. I love everything about it. I love learning about it. I love all of the things. But it does not control my life, right? I control it. It is a part of my life, and I want it to continue to be a part of my life. I'm the whiskey dude, you know what I mean? I've got challenge coins. I've got whiskey aplenty. I've got people lined up for the podcast that want to talk about whiskey. I sit here every week in and week out, talking to you about whiskey and whiskey-related things, right? I'm not dissing whiskey at all. I'm dissing the way we treat whiskey. And I'm putting myself in that category. I'm not calling out anybody. I'm putting myself in that category, saying, hey, I need to have more respect for the whiskey. I need to not divulge as much, which I haven't been able to. So I'm going to come into this with a clean palate. I'm going to come into this and it's going to be great. And, I'm going to start over anew with whiskey, a new relationship with whiskey after having a past with it, which I feel, and if any of you who know me can say otherwise, please do, because I want to know. I don't feel that I've ever had a issue with whiskey, right? I've always treated it with respect, as it should. Now, but here's the deal. Here's a thing that that I can help, maybe not help, but help the people that maybe don't know if they're struggling or not, right? If you can have willpower, we'll just talk about willpower for a second. If you can have willpower to say, I'm not going to drink tonight, get through tonight. Like, it sounds like 12 steps, right? It sounds like AA. If you can get through tonight, tomorrow will be better, right? But it's true. It's true. If you can get through tonight and not drink today, then tomorrow will be better, right? And I'm not saying turn it off. I'm not saying get rid of it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying any of those things. If you don't have the willpower or the mental fortitude to turn it off when it needs to be turned off, or see the precursors of issues, see that it's affecting your family life. See that every time you're around your family, you're drinking, right? As a coping mechanism or whatever. Like, these are things that we as whiskey friends need to talk about and we need to bring to light. I am all about social drinking. I'm all about that. That's not what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. When it's a Thursday night and you're having whiskey just to cope with your family. That's what I'm talking about, right? And you don't have the mental fortitude to tell yourself, hey, this is turning into a thing that I don't want it to, right? Because sometimes we don't see it. And I made a pledge to my mother all those years ago. I made a pledge to her that I said, hey, when and if I drink. And now there is those times that I've got drunk and took it too far. And there was a time in my life when it was happening more often than it should. Yeah. There was. And I'll admit that, And the funny thing is, it was because the death of the person that I told I was going to watch myself. Now, isn't that a conundrum in itself? You told your mother that you would always watch yourself when you drank. And then she passes away. Of course, it was abrupt, and it was sad and horrible. And then, we can talk about that later. But well, there's really nothing to talk about. She died in her sleep, unknowing to any of us. And I took that really hard. Not at first. I cried and did the things, but I shoved it inside because that's what men do. We're men. We have to shove all this crap inside and not deal with it, right? Right? And I know my psych friend, he's dog's probably gonna be yelling at, but and so then what would I do? I would, it would start coming, so I'd have a drink, right? I'd have a drink, and I'd have another drink, then I'd have 2 drinks, then I'd finish the bottle. Not that night, but rapidly. And then I realized, oh, this is a thing. And you have to realize that. And you have to come to that point where you're like, oh, this is a thing. And I need to deal with the thing. Now, luckily for all of us right now, I dealt with the thing by understanding it, respecting it, not drinking, but having more respect to it. And I feel it turned out the way I wanted it to. That was 6 years ago, something like that. So, can you turn it around? Of course you can. Can you get out of the hole and still enjoy whiskey? Absolutely. But you can't do it alone. You need help. I have a very strong willpower. I do. But it was even very difficult for me. It was with spiritual guidance. It was with therapy. All those things to get through it. And I just say that if any of you out there listening in the ether, whoever are having dependency issues of any kind, not just alcohol, not just whiskey, drugs, gambling, whatever, sex, reach out to somebody, please. Now is the only time. Reach out to me and I'll find somebody to help you. And I'm not trying to be a crisis hotline. I'm not. But I only wish the best for all of us, right? That's all. That's what I'm here for. As a steward, as a whiskey sommelier, right? A steward to the whiskey. You have to treat it with respect. Treat it with love. But not treat it with that much love, right? Don't have an intimate relationship with your whiskey, right? Keep it cordial. And I know it's hard. I know this is a hard topic to talk about. And so, no, I don't condone dry January. I don't condemn dry January. I think it's a racket. I think it's kind of dumb. Then it gives people a reason to binge drink through February, whatever. Or they binge drink through December, which is the time we're there with family and stuff like that. Just binge drink through that so then they can have their dry January. Anyway, I think that dry weeks are great. Take a little week off from drinking. That's fun. I wouldn't say it's fun, but, So, why did I bring any of this up? Why did I tell you any of this? Well, for one, because I care. And because for two, it's kind of my job, right? And I want to talk about the hard topics that nobody else wants to talk about. I'm sure there's people out there to talk about it. But like I've said multiple times in multiple podcasts, whiskey's out there. Whiskey's happening around you. It's up to us to go out there and find it. And to do the things. Whiskey is an experience, right? But it can also be a crutch. It can also be driving the vehicle. You know what I mean? So just understand that. And I'm going to leave it on this. Somebody told me once, they said, you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? And so if you know you have dependency issues, maybe whiskey's not for you. Maybe drinking isn't for you. You can still enjoy something without partaking in it. Does that make sense? You can still enjoy the community. You can enjoy all of the other things. I'm not telling you not to drink. I'm not your dad. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But if this hit you in the heart, because you know it hit me in the heart, you have to treat it with respect. And if you can't do that, then maybe you need a divorce from it. You need to get away from it. And that's the truest words I could ever tell you. And people aren't going to tell you that. And that's why people don't want to talk about this. People don't want to talk about the hard subjects. They want to be all fluff and marshmallow fluff on top. That's not what we talk about, man. This is real life. And we're talking about a substance, great as it is. Great as it is. We're talking about a substance that could mess your life up. Bad. Before you know it. Yep. It can do it. So, I don't want to leave off on a horrible, we went down a rabbit hole that I don't want to go through. But I want you guys to know that whiskey is there. It's us that are abusing it. It's not abusing you, okay? The whiskey's going to be there, okay? So if you have any needs, please contact somebody. A therapist, betterhelp.com. They're not a sponsor. But, please contact them because it is a huge deal. Okay, enough about that. Whiskey is going on. It's going on around you. Next week, we're going to have something cool. I can almost guarantee it. Almost. I'm not going to guarantee it yet, but I can almost guarantee it. And then we're going to move on and upward. But I feel like if we would not have had this conversation, then I would forever be wanting to have this conversation. Does that make sense? Like I just want you guys to understand 100% where I'm coming from with whiskey, with all of this stuff, because this is life. This is real life. This is the hard topics that we got to talk about. So anyway, dry January, is it a bust or is it a must? I don't know. That's up to you. But I will say this: for me, not being able to drink for this month and even more, it's been more than a month. I did have a drink during chemo. It was like the third week out. I had a drink just to see. Couldn't even really taste it. So I was like, man, I'm just wasting whiskey. Literally just wasting whiskey. And I was a little like, back then I was a little like, I don't want to say under the influence, but like, I still felt weird. And so like, I didn't want to be like tipsy and feel weird and, it just like make me feel weird. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. So it's been a while. I can tell you it does not mean I can't wait to get back into it. I've got samples here that I'm dying to be tried, stuff like that. So we got cool things coming up for sure. Stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of stuff going up on the YouTubes. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on there, like reviews and blind tastings, stuff like that. Finishing up my old-fashioned mead. Remember, I made a mead. We're making a mead. It takes time, guys. It takes time. So, anyway, I know this was a hard topic to talk about, and if you stuck around this long, God bless you. Absolutely, you're amazing. Yeah, and you're the warriors, and you're the ones that are out there respecting the whiskey, doing the things that you're supposed to do. You are the whiskey warriors. Okay. T-shirt, hashtag, you guys are the whiskey warriors. You respect the whiskey, but yet you love it at the same time. Does that make sense? So I appreciate all of you. I've been toying around with doing like a pay-to-play type, like extra podcast episode, like, but it's a pay-to-play, like it'd be a Patreon or something like that, and possibly do like a live event, a Zoom party, something like that. You know what I mean? after the episode exclusives, possible tastings, live tastings, like send you a sample, we all taste it type thing. I don't know. So if that's something y'all are interested in, and you think that I feel like I can provide you guys with the monetary, what it's worth, hit me up on my socials. I don't do it on like the Spotify. Hit me up on Instagram or Facebook page or whatever, or YouTube, and just let me know, if that's something you would be interested in. Obviously, it's a monetary investment, so like it's going to cost you, but at the same time, I feel like I could give you what you're wanting. Not because I'm trying to be greedy and make money at this and change the whole system and do all that. No, I just want to be able to buy better equipment, right? I want to be able to buy better video, audio things. I want to be able to pay for going to local distilleries and getting, talking to them and doing tours and stuff, so I can relay that information back to you. Does that make sense? So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. I'm just toying with it right now. Don't know if it's going to happen. It might happen. It might not happen. Who knows? But we are we are fastly approaching my 1 year of doing this. It's in April, so it's not right now, but we are approaching that pretty fast, so I'm excited about that. We're going to do a year in review then. That's a long way in the future, so don't worry about it. But I just, we got a lot of cool stuff coming in the works, and before I forget, I want to thank Chris over at Badmo Legacy Barrels for being the sponsor. I know he probably doesn't want to sponsor this episode, but I do thank him for being a continued sponsor. And please go to the affiliate link down below in the not the pinned comment, but in the instructions and not biopsy. Oh my God. Anyway, in the description down below. Sorry, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. So I say all that to say this. I appreciate all you. Like I say, if you stuck around this long, bless you, because like it was a hard topic, but we had to talk about it. So next week we'll get into something a little more lighthearted, and then we'll just go from there. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for the support through everything and through all of the issues that we've had. And we are moving up and moving forward. And remember, whiskey's happening around you. Go find it. Go to the distillery. Go do the samples. Get the tours. Do all the things. Okay? And I appreciate all of you. We can't end on this song. You know what I mean? We just can't. We can't do it. Can't end on this damn song. Okay, hold on. Give me a second. I don't know what's going on. How about this one? How about this one? Huh? It ain't gonna do it. I wanted to lean on it. As you know, we're going out with a bang. Okay? So, I want to thank you all. Thank you for joining me on this ride. It was a trip, for sure. No affiliation, guys. Y'all be good. And until next time, keep your spirits up. Peace.